Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking where the camera's not because the camera's down here for me this time. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the penultimate episode of The Boys. Oh boy, I am the cuck, Travis Snell.
Mm, I am the brightest day, Taylor Field.
Very nice. So obviously, you know what we're here to do. This is the second last episode, like I said, the penultimate episode. Next week is the finale for The Boys, so we will be reviewing that probably on the Friday because I work the Thursday, so we'll probably do it sometime Friday. But yeah, it's already coming to an end. Like it's all already over. It just went by so quick, even though it wasn't in binge form this time. And I guess it's because we had three of those episodes at the beginning that were all together, but it's almost over here. So you can go back, check out every single episode. If you've been with this whole time, thank you. All the episodes have been doing very well. You can check out the finale next week. And then after that, we'll be jumping a few weeks, but then we'll be jumping right into Mandalorian. We'll be doing the same thing. It'll be myself, Taylor, probably Kirklin. Kirklin says he's joining the watch along and he's a Star Wars fan. So I think us three will be watching every episode of The Mandalorian and doing weekly reviews. So those are going to be tons of fun. But before that, you can check out the Mandalorian watch along. If you're listening to this live, like very live, you like probably when you're listening to this review, we're going to be watching The Mandalorian, but it's happening October 3rd, 12 p.m. PST on YouTube. We are watching the entire season start to finish, something I have never done. Have you done that, Taylor?
Like
One
all in one
sitting?
sitting?
Yeah.
No, I watched it actually earlier the month of September. I
Mhm.
binged through it, and I think I did first like half episodes, and I did the other half the next day or something like that. But I'm excited to binge the whole thing.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get pretty loopy by that like 5 hour mark when we're talking, especially that Toro episode. Oh boy. So you can check out that, but then if you can't, we understand people work, you can't watch everything. All those episodes will be on the feeds as commentary tracks. We may or may not review Hubie Halloween. We were supposed to, but then I got the date wrong. Listen to this. So it's so annoying. So Hubie Halloween is dropping on a Wednesday. Next week, the sequel or whatever, the next season of Haunting House, I guess it's just called The Haunting because the first one's The Haunting of Hill House, and then there's like Haunting of Bly House, like whatever. So it's the Haunting series. That's dropping on a Friday. What is exciting, volume two of the new Unsolved Mysteries is coming out in 2 weeks. Did you know this?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it bumped up on my list. And I was like, this is weird. Why is it bumped up on my list October 19th? But that's dropping on a Monday. So Hubie's on a Wednesday, Haunting's on a Friday, and then Unsolved's on a Monday. Why are they doing these
It's
stupid?
because no one's working. It's all COVID time, so no one's working. Everyone's at home, so
But
release
then
it
just pick a
whenever.
day. Why not? But why not just like, okay, Monday for all the. Why is it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday? It's just weird.
I don't know. It gives people variety.
Variety. But yeah, we got tons
Yeah.
of stuff of that. We may or may not be doing a Borat. Well, we are doing a Borat
We are
watch
definitely doing
along.
Borat.
It's
Borat, Bruno, it's happening.
Bruno, maybe all the time independent, but I think it's going to happen. And then I'm pretty sure we had to scrap some things, but Patreon watch along, we are going to do commentary track. We're going to do Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. So then every year we'll do one of those.
Yes.
So that's going to be tons of fun. But Taylor, where could they find all that stuff? And then we're getting to the boys episode season 7. No, not season 7. Whoa,
Season
I jumped.
7.
Season 2, episode 7, right after Taylor gives these links.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. Geekverse.ca is our home base. Find us on Facebook at Geekverse and Twitter, Geekversecast, and just check us out everywhere else on the internet. Patreon, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just subscribe all over the place.
Yeah, subscribe to them all. Like Taylor said, Patreon, you can get, there's a whole whack of tiers there. You get early episodes, exclusive episodes. You can pick us, you can get us to pick a movie. No, you pick a movie for us to watch.
You can
You
pick us.
Yeah, you can pick us. We'll come over, do some chores. You can come watch a movie with us. You can join the phase 2 here and join After 9. After 9, we're doing next weekend. That's our Patreon call-in show. I think we're going to do Halloween type of themed episode. I think that's where we should talk about the horror sequels because we talked about.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
there, and I also want to talk about our favorite Halloween candy. So if you're a phase 2 Patreon, you can call in after the 15-minute mark, and it's just tons of fun. We did last month, tons of fun. And then most importantly, before we get to the episode, November 7th, our charity stream, Extra Life, 24 hours. We were trying to raise $1,500. Last year, we were $234 away. I want to hit it this year because if I hit this year, if you look at my hair, Taylor.
You got a bush growing.
A bush. Wow, that's a way to describe it. But look how long that is. But if you hit that 1,500, these nice luscious gold locks, they will not be long for long. That's so funny to say. That should be the hashtag, not long for long. If you hit the 1500, I will shave my head bald and get rid of all this hair that I've been growing pretty much since the last charity stream 2 years ago, since I shaved it. So, and I would appreciate that because bleaching hair, it takes a lot of time, and I'm over it. I'm done with it. Taylor has a wedding next year. I want to be looking spiffy. I like my hair already, but probably natural color is best. So you can do me a favor, but it all goes towards BC Children's Hospital. That's the main thing. It goes towards a good cause. And finally, this week
Every strand of hair on
well,
your head is going to the BC Children's
well, yeah,
Hospital.
no, the money, which is it's tax deductible, so you can put on your taxes and get the money back. No, the hair is bleached, just dead. It's gone. It's going right in the garbage after. But either way, just come watch. It's tons of fun. If you can't donate, we get it. It's a tough time. Please support us. Just retweet it, share the link when we're live. Come watch. It's gonna be lots of fun. And like I said, I promise we're a little behind on filming stuff and some announcements, but we're locking it down. I promise you. This 24-hour stream, we have tons of fun event planned. Everything's like I've been dotting I's, crossing T's. It's going to be a good time. There's going to be announcements. But that's the first one. That at 1500, I shave my head bald. And I say this every year, and I'm a broken wheel. But if we know the stats are, if everyone just gave $1, we'd hit that goal easily. So that's everything. Taylor, I'm going to throw to you for just your initial non-spoiler thoughts on The Boys Season 2, Episode 7. We got the finale next week, but what did you think about this episode?
This episode, it was really good. It had a lot of surprises from start to finish. I felt like there was a lot of progression for some of these characters, especially I'd say Huey. I feel like he had a lot of good progression in his character and a lot of confidence building, which I really, really like to see in this episode. Again, there were so many left turns that I wasn't expecting, and the ending of this episode just left me like, holy shit. Like, it's just, you have the feeling in your gut that something's going to go wrong. But what went wrong just blew my mind. Like, it was 1 to 1,000. And I immediately went onto the Reddit the next day. I was looking at people's theories and stuff.
You're
and
on the boys Reddit?
Yeah, I was on the boys Reddit. I found some wacky theories, but then the one thing, I'm not on board with many of the theories, but the things that they were pointing out made sense in the timeline of things. And I'm gonna when we get into the spoilers, I'm gonna talk about it, because there's one thing that was mentioned, a little bit of dialogue that was mentioned by a certain character in this episode, and it completely tied in very quickly and briefly at the end of this episode. And it goes to show, I think, who the true villain is going to be of season 3. So,
ooh,
that's my interpretation.
Yeah, to just throw all my cards on the table, I thought this was the best episodes of The Boys of all time. I think they knocked it out of the park. I think I think not a minute was wasted. There was never anything on screen that I was watching like, oh, you could skip over this. Where is this going? Every second count, and it felt like this this could have been the finale. Like, if this was the finale, I would have been satisfied. So I hope what?
I would have been so unsatisfied. No, I need to know what happens.
But that's what a finale is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to be the same way last year. Spoilers for the season 1 finale of The Boys, but the same way as they killed what's her name? Whatever Homelander's love interest was. What was it? Madeline or something? Whoever it was, killed her, and then it's revealed that Butcher's wife is still alive and has a kid. That was a huge oh my god, what's gonna happen next? And this episode felt like that. So I hope the finale, which is The Boys has a good bar of quality already, but I hope the finale can at least get close to this. I don't want it to be like Game of Thrones, where the penultimate episode was always the best episode, and the finale is it's just a bunch of slumber. I don't think that's going to be the case with The Boys. This felt like this just felt like, to me, I don't know how you could not be going 1,000 miles after this episode ended. So much is hitting the fan, and that's the best part is I felt like lots of stuff was answered, and then lots of new doors were opened. And that's the best thing I think an episode near the end of a season can do. It's setting up a finale, which is great. That's why I have faith. I think this finale is just going to be crazy good and bonkers, but I think there's still going to be tons of doors left closed, because there's just that's the good thing. There's so many plot lines, but it doesn't feel convoluted. And the best thing is they're all starting to bleed into one another. And I said this many times before the season, but there's some ratings or something going around. Again, they're all third parties, but it's like something like that. Boys is being watched just as much as some of Netflix's top shows, and Netflix also has a bigger base. And I just think it does remind me of the good years of Game of Thrones when they had all these storylines going on, but eventually they all intertwined or characters intertwined, and it was like that, aha, this all makes sense now, or I see where this is going. And yeah, we got lots of good character development from Huey, but other characters as well. We had some surprises. We met some new characters. We had some action. We had one scene in particular I cannot wait to talk to Taylor about, a certain allergy perhaps, but and this episode was, it's kind of the same way I say about the MCU. I think my favorite MCU movie, this is going to sound like a weird thing, but hear me out. My favorite MCU movie is Endgame. I think the best made movie in the MCU is the Black Panther. The best MCU movie, though, is Civil War. And the reason I always say that is because like it has everything that the MCU has, right? Kind of the character dynamics, the crossover, the action, the comedy, kind of the heart. It has everything that is in the MCU in this one movie, where some movies lay more on comedy, on drama, whatever it may be. This episode felt like this, where it had super serious moments, but then it had moments of Huey with a certain character, which are going to spoilers, of just like uncomfortable like comedy, where you're just like, oh, like what we were talking about Borat last night, like, and it was so good. I cannot wait to get into it. But it had, and there's gross stuff, there's shocking stuff there, like I said, there's action. It's everything that you think what The Boys the show is. That's what this episode was. So anything before non-spoilers, before we get in this?
Nope.
I'm going to do this because it saves me some editing time. Before we get non-spoilers, we're throwing to a quick ad break. And we're back. Look at that. I'm going to start doing that more, Taylor. I threw that on you there.
Yeah, you totally did. Sure.
Taylor's the worst with improv and going with the flow, but no, that honestly saves me 5 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna try and do that in the future, because we always do want to warn people when ads are coming up. Sometimes they be a bit louder. It depends on your podcatcher. But Taylor, where I want to start? I want to start with a tree nut allergy. I want to talk to you about how your boy Black Noir has one of the, has maybe the worst, easiest weakness of all time.
Yeah, only if you know of it, though.
But now, if Queen Maeve knows and gave it a Starlight, all the boys are going to know too. And I feel like for such a but this is classic boys, for such a badass character, it's almost like Superman. It's worse than Superman, though. Superman is kryptonite, so it's one thing can take him down, but it's like you have to find it. It's very rare. This thing that can take up Black Noir is very...
But it makes sense. It's like the equivalent of like Peter Parker, Spider-Man having an allergic reaction to bee stings or something like that. Like,
but even that'd be harder. I'd rather have the bee sting reaction than, because you have to catch the bee. But she literally just has to walk out with a bar and shove in his mouth, and Black Noir is done. He's out of the battle.
I was wondering what she was doing, because it was like, what is she putting in his mouth? Is it gonna like some kind of pill or something? And like we got to see a bit of his face though too.
Well, that's what I thought at first. I thought, oh, okay, maybe there's like some sort of medication that controls him. So I'm like, oh, or snaps him out of whatever he is. And then like when you just like, she puts it in her mouth and you get like a little sign, you see the wrapper, and then she's like tree nut allergy or whatever she
and
said.
He pulls the syringe out.
And then Maeve kicks it away. He goes to get it again. Starlight kicks it even further, and he's just like, ugh. So like, I don't think he's dead, because I think they'll keep him alive. Yeah. But like I have one, not even a problem, but I do have a question about that. But I just love that. Yeah, we saw his face. Obviously, he's very damaged and whatnot. But yeah, he the allergy can take him out. So maybe the baddest member of the seven, maybe next to Homelander, has a very easy weakness. But let's just start there, because we're already in the scene. So my biggest complaint last year, next to the Deep, was Queen Maeve. I felt like Queen Maeve didn't have much to do last season. I felt like the second her and Homelander had that airplane episode, it was just a lot of episodes of her being in distress, not knowing what to do. But everyone else was having these good storylines. I just felt like she was just kind of around, and we had kind of seen inklings of it already this season. Of one, I liked her story of one with her girlfriend and like being like shepherded by Vaught and everything like that. Like, just you see what they do to people, but then also now she has this will to take down Homelander, and we see some sides of her. We saw that table scene where, I guess I'll ask you before I keep going, do you think her girlfriend has stayed with her? Because she freaked out and just flipped that table, and we don't know what happened after that. Do you think she stayed, or do you think she left?
I think she stayed. I don't think they're gonna kick her out just yet.
Well, kick her, I guess. She just looked pretty scared, and she's all worried about she's seeing the real like Queen Maeve
Yeah, that
now.
bothers me. There's so many people in this world that are like, I want to see the real you, and then you show them the real you, and they're like, I'm out. And it's like, it's a
Okay,
perfect example.
this might be an after nine topic, but I just feel like in real life, if there's somebody, because this happens lots of times when you're dating, people are guarded, they don't want to show their emotions, blah, blah. And if you said, let me, like, show me the real you, and then you saw a video of them leaving a plane, letting hundreds of innocent people die and not telling anybody, I think that is above and beyond the show me the real you. That is
But
worth questioning everything.
it's worth questioning everything. But then you also have to understand that there's this homicidal Man of Steel who's got you basically playing twiddly dee dee with his thumbs on you or something like that.
Oh boy. But then anyways, so she made the big save, Starlight, and we'll get into the other stuff, but Starlight was being rescued by Huey in the game. Well, it actually was just Huey and Lamplighter, which we'll talk about. There's
That
tons of
was
stuff
so
there.
good.
But
Oh,
anyways, before we get to that, she was Black Noir tracks her down. They're fighting. It looks like she's about to be unconscious as Black Noir is choking her out. And then we talk about that scene. Queen Maeve makes a save, tree nut allergy. So now we had talked about this that I said, and I didn't know if it was going to happen. I thought it might happen in the finale. I didn't know if it for sure happened in the season. But we talked about that at some point, Starlight and Queen Maeve are going to both figure out they're on the same team and they just don't know it. And now they officially know it because Starlight will get that's I mean, there's so much stuff to get in this episode, but Starlight was branded a traitor, so she's officially off the 7 against the 7. But Queen Maeve made the save. I'll ask you two things. One, if you're Maeve and Black Noir is still alive, didn't you think it's probably a good idea to kill him? And two, just what are your general thoughts now about Queen Maeve and Starlight? Like, obviously, they're going to possibly be a unit which will lead to the Maeve working with the boys and everything like that. So obviously
well,
that
no,
door
she
is open.
invited him, but I mean, the door's open, but Queen Maeve didn't take it right now, right? So I
Not
feel
right
like
now, but it's
not right
laying those
now.
breadcrumbs.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's going to be a dynamic. It makes sense not to kill Black Noir because I feel like Queen Maeve, if she really wanted to, she could have killed them, but she didn't for a reason. So I feel like there's going to be some point plot later on that it's going to warrant her recruiting him or something like that, or he'll just kind of open up to the idea. So I don't think that doesn't need a reason to kill him. But yeah, the door is definitely open. They'll probably throw her with the boys at some point sooner or later, but it's hard to say right now.
So you don't, because the thing is, he's going to rat on her though, right? Because he's going to say that, hey, I had Starlight dead to rights, like literally dead to rights, and then Queen Maeve came in there and it's like,
Well,
unless he,
we don't know what he's really gonna do because he's the same guy that when he found out he was injected with Vought when he was a little kid, he was crying in the hallway. So it's hard to know really what he's gonna do.
it's true. He is a big question mark. So, but I do think, like you said, Queen Maeve said no to going with her, but I just think it's because she's not made yet. Because if she leaves with Starlight, then everyone knows, okay, she's a traitor too. Where even if she has a little bit more time to try and get some more information on Vought or Homeland or Stormfront, whatever it may be, she can do that in Vought, where she can't do that with the boys, right? Because she still has that
Mm-hmm.
tracker. So, yeah, I'm very interested to see where it goes. So where do you want to go to next? Because I was going to go to the ending of the episode, but I have no idea where to go because it's tough because we were talking about Maeve, and obviously that's the next time we see her is in that courtroom. But if we don't want to talk about the ending yet, that's fine.
I want to start at the very beginning, actually, the episode. That whole like 4 or 5 minute sequence of that guy just fanboying over Stormfront. I really like the symbolism of that. How they're just again they're promoting like racism basically, like these border jumpers. They're just calling them soup terrorists, but they're
This
it's racist, and their whole way in Stormfront's kind of agenda is literally taking shape, and it shows because I feel like again this is a good representation of society to a certain
oh
degree
yeah,
where
this episode was
these
super political, especially right now.
it
Yeah.
totally was, and this you have this guy whose only association with this character in a leadership role is just it's imprinting on him, and he doesn't even know it until now. He's at
No,
this moment where he's holding a gun to someone who is of a different ethnicity and kills the person just out of cold blood, and it's
because
just
he thought they were a soup.
he
Because
thought they were a
because
soup.
this
Yeah.
bus went by and shined a light in his eyes, and then
Yeah, it's
no.
just it's nuts, and it creates like weekend warriors, and people just have to. You got to
Weekend
remember,
warrior.
people. You got to think for yourself, and you have to be your own individual. You can't let other people plant these thoughts into your mind because it could be dangerous.
So we're not gonna make this super political, but I'm gonna
No.
get a little political right now because just of how the episode's political, and I'm not gonna tell you what side I go on. If you know my tour, you know I'm not a big supporter of certain people, aka the president. But my thing is, right now the debates have happened, right? And there was this line in the debate that they asked Trump to condemn white supremacists, and he said he said stand back and stand by. Not the greatest thing you want to
That's not
say.
what he said.
Not what you want to say. Pretty awful. Even though there's clips in the past of, and this is where I'm going to, there is literally physical proof of clips of Donald Trump being like, hey, I condemn Nazis, I condemn the KKK, everything like that. The thing is, he didn't say it on this main stage, but that's where I thought was very interesting with Stormfront. We know that she is racist and just wants like white supremacy, right? But then in the public, on that stage, she's like, we're sending our thoughts and prayers to this family. We're sending them funding, everything like that. So that's where this whole why it's tying into even just something so current right now. It's just with this Trump thing is like you have people on both sides saying like, oh, he's just saying that now because he's on a bigger stage, or oh, he meant it this way, or and there's all like it doesn't matter because there's left and right, and then there's somewhere in the middle. Everyone's taking it a different way, but that's where I'm not saying Donald Trump is lying. He lies a lot. I'm saying, but in this episode, she was coming off as like a presidential figure that is doing all this behind the shady stuff, seeing all these behind the scenes shady stuff. And then she's just up front like, no, like it's completely like she's appealing to the public, appealing to the nice people, So it's very interesting, especially with political things going on right now. So, and yeah, I thought that was a good opening because that guy, he's just self-isolated. He lives with his mom, clearly. He doesn't have a good life going on. So he just sees these superheroes promoting all this stuff, promoting all this hatred. And that's the thing where, again, I don't want to make it political, but there's that argument too with certain political figures that they may not be endorsing the racism, but they may say things to trigger people that are racist to go do something. And that shows it like, the people that wrote this episode definitely had a base in mind, and I feel like we all know what the base is, and that's what this felt like, where Stormfront is not saying to go kill people that you think are not white and terror, like, because she talked about them being suits, but more about being terrorists and not from this country, right? So that's where she was really enforcing that, but the thing is, she never outright said go kill anybody, so when someone gets killed, she backpedals and goes, oh yeah, we feel really bad, but if you look at everything she's saying, she's setting this person up, she's brainwashing people to go do the work for her, and that happens a lot. Another thing I would say is you should watch this because it's scary. It's on Netflix. It's called it's this, I think it's called The Social Experiment, but it's a documentary. It's only an hour 20 minutes, but you imagine watch it. It's all about like how your phone will attack you and stuff like that, and how like people like use certain information, and like literally like times, like if you look at an image for 12 seconds, it records that and goes, okay, he looked at this for 12 seconds, he looked at this photo for 6 seconds, so clearly he likes that. The 12-second photo is clearly Michael Fassbender naked, so of course I'm gonna be looking at that. But I just felt like this episode eventually got more actiony, a lot more like, oh, we got to take them down, but that's the thing where that's why I always compare this to Watchmen. I feel like if people, I am interested to see people after this episode, because we get that all the time. Like, I don't want politics in my game. I don't want politics in my movies. But it's like it's always like it's in majority of a lot of these things. Like you can think whatever you want about Last of Us, but when Last of Us 2 were coming out, lots of fans were like, "Oh, I don't like you're inserting politics in this game. It's not for me." It's like, well, the first one had all my politics in it, and you played it, so it's like I already fucking kind of fooled you. Like it's like everybody like when you're dealing with these big themes about government and behind the scenes and cover-ups, there's going to be some political slant, and I think it's to a lesser degree. But look at Black Panther; that's a super political movie. People might not think it is, but like there's tons of statements in that movie. So I thought it was pretty ballsy of them to do that, because they've done ballsy stuff before, but I can definitely see some people just being like, oh, we got to put this in the show. But then again, I just feel like because it's masked in such a good way, some people might not even correlate it to real life. They might just look completely over and just think, oh, she's just an evil villain. But it's like, oh man, that stuff's happening like right now, like it's not just in the show. So let's keep going with them. So Stormfront, Homelander, they're doing great. They're a couple of the year right now. They did this rally. Everyone's loving Homelander again, like because whatever it is, the relationship, they're kissing in public now. The crowd like, ooh, like I love like all the fake stuff. It's so good. And then we knew this from the preview, but even when it was happening in the show, it was just like a bad gut feeling. So they're talking about, their plans, and Starlight, what happened is they kidnapped her and they've said she's a traitor. They said she was a mole in this rally. And then they're talking about what they're going to do with her. Stormfront says like, oh, we got to hang on, wait around. And then Homelander's like, no, I just want to kill her because I've messed with her before and don't underestimate her is what he's saying. One, before I continue, do you think Stormfront's plan, because we talked about this a few episodes ago, she said it'll work perfect for what I have. Do you think her plan was for her just to be the mole, or do you think there's more? Because this could be, I thought, oh, this makes sense if this is the plan, but is there anything more, or do you think this was the plan?
Oh, there's definitely more. I mean, Stormfront has definitely got an agenda with her. Otherwise, if there wasn't more, they would have killed her, right?
Yeah, you're right, because she would have, well, I guess so. The thing is, if they keep her, if let's say she wasn't broken out, what would happen to her? Would she go on trial if they didn't kill her?
No, they would have just branded her a traitor to the public and then probably used her for some other experiment or some other related thing.
But what would the public ask? Like, wouldn't they want a trial of Starlight?
You know, and again, I'm going to compare this to general society. I'm sorry if I'm going to offend anyone, but the general public is stupid. They'll suck up whatever Stormfront would say. They could say whatever they want. Like, we apprehended her, but she took her own life.
True.
She did whatever she did, and the public would eat that up because they don't think for themselves.
Well, they
don't
did
ask
that with
questions.
they did that with Translucent already, right? Remember that the boys killed him,
Yeah.
but they said Translucent died on a mission, and they did this whole Homelander funeral
bullshit.
for him.
And again, that segues into the Green Arrow equivalent or whatever. He was like, he was fondling and he was mounting his friends dressed as deers.
And yeah, he just, because the way I took it, he didn't do anything sexual assault, right? He was just doing weird sex stuff, and they cast him out, right? That's what I took it as. It wasn't anything it wasn't anything like assault or anything like that. He was just he acted embarrassingly, so they cancel cultured him, and people deemed it not right. And then so that we'll go back to the church. So I'll stay on Homelander and Stormfront. So as they're talking, she sees this kid, and she reminds her of her kid when she was this age, blah, 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 which makes me wonder if this is going to lead to Homelander and Stormfront trying to have a kid, because she was looking like she had the baby feeder Stormfront. It could have just set up the whole, I want you to meet my son. But like I said, we saw it from the preview, but when he's like, oh, I have something to show you. It's like, oh, no, I feel so bad for this mom. But so they get there, and we got this whole set piece of super power dynamics of Stormfront, just like a bull in a china shop, just giving this kid the world, and the mom can't do anything. Oh, you can go to the rides, you can do whatever you want, you're the firstborn soup. Did you know your dad's in movies? Oh yeah, Homelander Rises, Homelander Darkest Night.
That was so good.
All these titles, and like I said to Taylor last night in our chat, so they need to make Tropic Thunder trailers for all these movies next season. I really want to see it. But so we see all these dynamics, and then we saw again, this is why I always disagree with it, that Homelander has a sliver of humanity still, is in that conversation with Becca. He was like, I just don't want him to go through what I went through. I don't want him to be lied to, because he literally says, I don't want him to turn out like me. As a full-on Malekith villain, stuff like that. Every villain would be like, oh, I'm the man, he should be me. But Homelander literally said, I don't want him to be me. I think it's Stormfront. I think he's still arrogant, but I think without Stormfront, he wouldn't have jumped off in the sky with that kid. Maybe eventually, but not this soon. But I think she is poking the bear. So what did you think about everything we got here? I loved everything because it was just super awkward and tense, and now we're set up for a good kind of, I don't think it's going to get resolved in the next episode, but I feel like obviously Becca's going to call Butcher, and they gotta get the kid back, right? Because I don't know, but
Becca should have just left with Butcher when she had the chance. It was that simple.
But he didn't. But Butcher didn't want to take the kid, though. Remember?
I know, but she could have pushed it. They could have changed or something. Some baloney could have unfolded, but no. She made the call for the both of them that she would stay and keep the kid.
I disagree with that, because Butcher specifically said they were not going anywhere with that kid because he was a soup, and they would track him down and we would be found. So he was being just as stubborn as her. He said he would not leave, and he also just called him a fucking soup creep too. So Butcher hates the kid, but Butcher was just as persistent as we're not going anywhere with this kid, and she said, well, I'm not going anywhere without this kid. So they both just couldn't agree.
Yeah, it's Butcher being a ass, I guess. It's aggravating because they were. I hate that kind of drama when the most clear objective is just you need to get out of there. That's the one problem and issue at hand is, okay, they're locked here and they need to get out. And if you were to take this firstborn soup child away from Vought, that's a huge bonus against them. And that's something that's huge. And it's just, why would you give, knowing that this child is being visited by Homelander, why would you give Homelander the satisfaction of knowing he has a son and what he could do to this child and turn him into another weapon that Vought could use, and just what they could do and manipulate this child? It just wouldn't make
But
sense.
then
And
the risk is that they leave, they get found, Butcher and Becca get killed, and then that kid is just with Homelander, and there's no mom. Like that, there is a risk. The way the Vought works, like they're so like high and mighty powerful, right? That's the problem. Is what happens if they both get killed, and then this kid is just alone with
high,
Homelander.
mighty, powerful, but they're doing a horrible job at killing the boys. So I mean, I'm not too
Well,
concerned
yeah,
about it.
that's where the plot armor comes in for sure. Because like even then I haven't. So we got anything more to say on the Homelander Stormfront stuff?
Um, No, just that it was really awkward. And Stormfront, like, I'm wondering, there's one more scene that we've seen in the trailers of Homelander looking down and he's like shocked and there's blood all over his face, and we haven't seen that scene yet.
Well, I know. I've been wondering. I was like, are we not sure that was just some? Are we not forgetting it was like from last year, maybe?
No, because he looked like really shocked and surprised. So I'm wondering if maybe, I mean, for all we know, like maybe Stormfront wants to have another kid but kills his son.
Oh boy.
Maybe like
Well,
it could be the son dying. It could be Stormfront that dies, and Homelander's just looking down at the body like in shock. So
I don't know who could. I think there's a chance it could be a flashback, and it's messing
mhm.
with us. So I'll ask this again because I ask this every week until we get the split, the inevitable split. But is Stormfront still using him, or like she's okay? She's for sure using him, but like, is this kid still her using him, or does she genuinely feel something for Homelander? Because I feel like she's. I honestly can't tell which route they're going because I could see either or right now. I can't see it's clearly they're not showing their hand, which I like.
I I mean, I still think she's using Homelander. She might be like, if she's like ultra Nazi, she's probably in love with him to a degree because he's got blonde hair, blue eyes. So I mean, he's full like Aryan, and she's all about that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that being said, it's I don't know. The son does not have blonde hair. I don't think he has blue
Yeah, he
eyes.
does.
It's like a dirty blonde. It's not Homelander blonde.
No, because his is like bleached like mine, but like he's blonde haired kid.
um, Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what she does, because it's a whole other dynamic now that the kid is in there. And
Oh yeah.
the kid obviously, yeah, feels betrayed and lied, but just to dump him in this world, we saw him once already turn on his dad, and I feel like that could happen again. What
Oh
if he
yeah.
literally like laser eyes and just rips Stormfront apart, and Homelander's like staring at her in that scene, like the kid's unpredictable.
Yeah, Brightburn. So I want to talk about the ending now, just because we talked about the boys being plot armor. What is going on? And I don't think actual plot armor, just the way the story's working. It might happen eventually, even though I did think that a few episodes ago. What's happening? So we get in the court, and we're gonna get the Lamplighter later, but they lost Lamplighter as a key witness. So, but they had the guy who was like the former president of Vought, and he was gonna swear on the stand. Butcher literally just said he's gonna kill his entire family. He didn't do it, so he decided, okay, I'm gonna do this.
I love that scene. Like, just quick injection here.
Yeah.
When he's sipping the tea and he's smiling and all friendly, and the guy's just like looking at him. That was so good.
He pushes that chair super slow to make that
Yeah.
annoying sound. Like he's Carl Urban's so good, and this is easily his best acting he's ever done. But he gets him to do this, and then I was so curious of where we're going next because he's coming in the trial. I'm like, man, like he's gonna lay everything down. Like the show is about to completely change, and then those fucking heads start exploding again.
That
So
was so
what is happening? Because we saw that soup that could explode people. Like, did she explode people or heads?
so that's where I want to throw my theory in
Yeah.
here. So I 100% believe this is the Church of Light or whatever that is causing the heads to explode.
Mm.
So, and I'll back that with my evidence. So earlier on, we saw that one CIA agent die that was talking to the boys, and clearly people could say that's Cindy. Cindy is that soup that was, you know, making people pop. People could say that that's Cindy, but
It
again, I
doesn't make
don't.
sense.
It
Why
doesn't
would
make
she be at
sense.
that? Why would she be at the trial? And then when the CIA lady, she was still locked up, as far as we know.
Exactly. So people probably, I think it's a misdirect. They want you to think, oh, maybe they sent her out on a mission to test what she could do because they were testing the soups. But then I don't think she's able to be controlled to that degree. So she's unpredictable. And again,
Yeah.
to this level, like, why would she and how would she just stealthily manage to sneak to this meeting of all these soups and stuff? It just wouldn't work.
And why would she
Now,
care?
yeah, exactly. Why would she care? She only cared about the liars that were in that facility or whatever. Like, but obviously she does have a mission, and we're yet to see what it is. Now, the reason I think it's the Church of Light is because when they're in that party or the birthday, that leader of the Church of Light says, "Okay,
Yeah.
I got to take care of a few things, but it looks like you're going to get back in there." Now, they wouldn't obviously have two fast characters in the 7, but there's a reason they showed his head like pop as brief as it was. I'm pretty confident, like, okay, this guy's got something going on, and then when he's saying like, oh, I gotta take care of a few things and all that stuff, it's because he's gonna kill these guys. And he can't compromise Vought or the 7 to that degree of letting this guy ruin Vought because he wants to put these members of his church or whatever in the 7 for some reason. So that's why I think they're segueing to him being the main villain.
Well, I don't think for some reason, because it gives him more money, because then it looks like they were in the. He'll have 2 members of the 7 that are part of his church, so that would help him tremendously, tremendously. What the fuck does that word? Tremendously. I think I was trying to say immensely and tremendously at the same time. I'm keeping that one. It's gonna help him out tremendously because he'll have these people that will be in his commercials. He can say, look, come to my church, like I have the members of the 7 here. So you know what, Taylor? Sometimes you throw out like the Tony Stark left hand theories that are not good at all. But then this might be your greatest theory ever. I'm almost gonna be wrong. Yeah. I'm almost gonna be mad if you're wrong, because it makes so much sense that I think you're completely right. I didn't even think about it. I just knew that it can't be this girl, and that's a misdirect because it just doesn't make any sense. It just would be like, to me, if it was the girl and it just like for some reason randomly happened, I feel like that's a step down for the boys. I feel like they don't have, like, coincidences happen, but that would be such a big one where you're like, really, like right when the trial's happening, this lady attacked this court for no reason. Like, I don't really buy that. So no, that's a really good point. I'm excited because and that you think the church is going to be the main villain for 3.
I think they're leading the church being the main villain for 3. So
again, we asked this, I think we both said no originally, but do you think Stormfront makes it out of the season? I'm still yes, because I think it's just too quick to kill her off. But if you're thinking this church, because if the church is the main villain in your mind, wouldn't that mean she's gone? Or is it like another faction coming in, like Game of Thrones style, where we have now we have the people that did the Red Wedding, and now we have the Lannisters, and then you got this. Yeah, like, is there gonna be multiple bad guys running around?
I think I'm inclined to say that there's a chance she could make it out alive. I think it's not going to be pretty whatever goes down, because this is just such a game changer. So just that scene alone where they're all in that room and just heads are popping and you don't know what to do. Like, what is your head gonna pop next? And everyone's just dying left, right, and center. And so many people died in that scene. And again, they took forever to cut the TV station off. But I love that where Carl Urban's like, starting from the beginning, that scene where the president rolls in his chair and Homelander just was like aggravated in his face. Yeah, exactly. And then Carl Urban's like, oh, we got you, or whatever, like that, the TV. And then his head pops and they're like freaking out on watching TV.
When Butcher says, I got you, cunt. And then they look over to Annie's mom, and she's like, she like sits back in her chair, like, who are these people my daughter is associating with? Like, Annie being in the porn show with the boys was so much fun. It was only like 5 minutes, But it was just like a completely, and that was a great setup too of how they captured them. Of like, she's like, oh yeah, I talked over with Vaughn, and they know we're going on this trip. And then right when Annie's like, you shouldn't have done that, boom, tear gas comes through, and it was such a good setup. And I love that it didn't take any time. That was like in the first 5-10 minutes of the episode, like I got right into it. But no, that's a good point because I was wondering with the head bursting of like, is it just plot armor, or like why are none of our main 7 members exploding? Like no Stormfront, no Homelander. Like I don't know if their heads can be exploded, but it's like it's all these people that are like very convenient for the plot. So you know what? No, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, we talked about a little bit, but yeah, the Deep's Archer friend got cast out because he's into some weird sexcapades. And
But now, do you believe that, or do you feel like it is fake? Because he was like saying like, I haven't done anything like that. This is stupid. Because he seemed like he totally turned on the church. And
well,
even then, like
yeah,
that scene with the Deep, like I really got a kick out of that. Like, oh, he's such a good guy. He helped me join the church or whatever. And then the guy tells him like, no, he's
he's
just
a
bad.
sexist, he's a pig or something like that. And then Deep's like, yeah, oh no, he said he has. He said something like he has uber toxic masculinity, and then the
Yeah.
Deep's like, you're right, he did have toxic masculinity. So like the Deep is just completely brainwashed, and I like that I hope they keep a more pathetic character because, again, he is a very bad pass as well. But I feel like they're doing more of the redemption with A-Train because he was starting to question in this episode of like, man, that guy was your friend. Why would you just turn on him? And then Deep just goes, well, he's a bad guy. The church says he's a bad guy. But it's like, yeah, but he wasn't a bad guy to you. You didn't know him as a
Mm-hmm.
bad guy. It's like, and then I think something happens where they get distracted or whatnot. So yeah, I think there's some sort of, I don't know why they would have set him up because like, we don't know off screen what he would have done, like why the church wanted him out. Maybe it's just because
Mm-hmm.
they got A-Train and they don't feel they need him anymore. But yeah, this church is, I would not, much like in real life, you can think whatever you want. This is a full-on Travis Snail approved message and nobody else. For me, I think churches, all of them are shady as, majority of them are shady as fuck. So that's why I think it's another commentary on things that happen in life. And it's not like, it's not been known in past, present, and possibly future of churches to be shady. So it's like another like political charged kind of storyline. So that, yeah, it's not going to be ending. But then, like I said, I think A-Train's going to get on our good guy team. I would honestly like Deep to go back to being the bad guys. I kind of hope he ends up being a mole or something. Like he's so pathetic he makes that choice of no, like Homelander says, like you can be on the 7 and like you can be with us. That's what I'm kind of hoping, that A-Train becomes on the good guy of the Civil War and the Deep goes back.
I
Because
think you're right because I'm picking that up. Like he did that stuff for Maeve, like briefly, but it didn't like cement him as being like a good guy. I do feel like he could succumb to that dark team.
well, because A-Train right now, he's asking questions on a life base of, hey, that was a good guy. Why are you turning your back on him? Where the Deep, the reason he gave the footage is because she said, do you want to be in the 7? That's
Mm-hmm.
why he did it. It's all very selfish motivations for the Deep. So that's what I'm kind of hoping is going to happen, because I still feel like to get him fully good is like a long ways away. I think there's going to be some sort of scandal. I don't think this season, but I think next season he's for sure going to cheat on his wife, and that's going to be a big thing. And maybe the church will cast him out, and maybe that's a Homelander kind of reels him back in. I'm not sure, just because I don't see the Deep fighting with the good guys yet. I really don't, because he's all about being the 7. But
Did you intend for that, reel him back in or whatever, or is that just
no, I
cat?
didn't. I did not at all. Just like Electro yesterday with like the shocking news. I did not mean that at all. I'm the pun master. That's my power. So I want to say the Huey thing for last. So is there anything else that I haven't hit on that you want to talk about? We talked about May. We talked about Starlight. Didn't do much. We'll talk about her when we talk about Huey, but she was just captured for most of it. We talked about the kid. We talked about, well, let's talk about Butcher and his dad. We meet Butcher. You remember who his dad was?
Kind of. I didn't really understand what was going on in that scene. I got
Well,
very confused.
that was John Hurd. That was the guy who I can't remember his name. Remember the guy who eats really grossly in Return the King, Boromir's dad, and
Oh, that was him.
he makes Pippin
Uh
sing.
the
I know.
steward of
Steward of
Gondor.
Gondor, yeah. And then Boromir. And he tries
Yeah.
to burn his fucking son alive.
No wonder I kind of glazed out of that
Yeah.
scene.
I think that scene was again what they're showing, because I think they're trying to get Butcher on the right track. Is I think this was just a Butcher, and I liked all the stuff because they talked about his dad being hard on him, abusing him. Everything that he threw at his dad as negatives is something that Huey would have thrown at the Butcher. And then like two things: one, his dad being like, I harden you up so much, like you're afraid of nothing. So it kind of shows, okay, a little backstory of where he was. We got more backstory on his brother, that that he passed away, and is like that's what led to their falling out. Was oh, I can't remember what the specific line was, but either way, they like he wasn't really there for him, the dad, because there's kind of insinuating that his brother was like weaker of them, and his dad should have been a bit easier on him, but he wasn't. And then the one line that stuck with me is just like his dad said something about like he said like you're tougher than me, or you're scared, like you're more. I can't remember. I should have honestly watched the scene again. But either way, paraphrasing, he was just saying that like I don't want you could turn into me, and you don't want that, and I don't want that. I think that's to show that whatever his dad was, it made Butcher hard, but he also has a lot of regrets, and he was a big asshole just like Butcher. And I think it's more just laying the groundwork for like he has to start being a bit more careful. We've talked about the season, how he's been careless, how he's just been at times like comparable to Homelander. I think this is trying to show like they're going to try and get him back on the path of fully doing good, and not like letting the cops lay in the fucking water and possibly dying. So I think he saw what he could become. I think that's what the whole point of the storyline was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, it was so brief, and I didn't really get like a lot of what was going on, but yeah, I'm glad you kind of explained that because it went over my head.
So anything else, or we want to talk about Huey and Lamplighter?
Oh, we can go right into Huey and Lamplighter. Start right when they were like watching home videos
Well, no,
together.
yeah, I'm starting from the beginning. So Hugh's still recovering from his wound. They leave him there because they just talked to the head of the CIA that Butcher has the connections with, and he's gonna go on trial. He's gonna talk about Vought, Compound V, everything like that. And the only thing they need Huey to do is stay there and watch him. So he's gonna stay there and watch him, and then they introduce like, well, you can. Well, actually, it's Lamplighter says you can come watch Deep fuck me in the blowhard with me right now. And then Jack Quaid, some of his best delivery and acting in this episode on a comedic one, is just like he looks at Butcher's like, I don't want to watch that movie. And Butcher's like, oh, it's a good one. And and then we get multiple porns. We get like one we didn't see, the one where A-Train and Starlight are together, and he's like, no, we're not watching that one. So literally, Huey has to sit with Lamplighter in like witness protection, and they're just watching porn. There's this super uncomfortable one. There's a cuckold one of Homelander fucking some guy's wife, and all the dialogue is just like, "Are you a are you a cuck? Say you're a cuck." And like, sit here, you little cuck. Like it was also like over, and they're like he was like, do we need to watch this? Like he's trying to get the remote, and Lamplighter turns to blow his fucking face off. And then when Starlight is announced to be the traitor, they're showing it all over the news. And they cut to Huey. He's like, what? Oh my God, no. And then they cut, and it's like a porn, and it's like, I don't know who it was, but it was a guy. And then there's like pretty much a bunch of guys were like bukkake all over him, everything like that. He's like, this cat, like he was supposed to be reacting to the news. So everything with the porn, everything was like, it was just fantastic. I loved it. It was just such good humor with those two. Like it was just like, and it's like Lamplighter was so serious about like don't touch it. Like I'm watching my porn right now and everything like that. And then he learns Starlight's kidnapped. Very convenient. He turns the porn off, and the first thing on is the news. But they find out Starlight is kidnapped. He says like, do you want to be the cuck or do you want to be the hero to Lamplighter like one last time? They get to, because they know he has the access to get in. They get into the secret spot of Vought, and they find out where Starlight's hidden. Right when Lamplighter says, oh, they moved my statue. I always wanted to do this in front of my statue. I knew, oh man, Lamplighter does not have much left longer. And what does he decide to do? He just fucking kills himself. He lights himself on fire. Huey takes his hand. He unlocks all the doors. I think, like you were talking about earlier, but to tie with Starlight, him and Starlight had a great moment when he walked up with their mom, and she realized that no one else was there to save her. It was just Huey. So whatever problems they had, even though he lied to her a bunch, I think it's like coming around, and she knows she can trust him. and this guy really loves her and she loves him, and it was a fun way for him to meet her mom for the first time. He's like, hi, like, where's Annie? And he just has his hand. But I love everything about it. The lamplighter thing, him dying, I think it fit. Because I guess the motivation is, he said the second he takes the stand, they're just going to kill him anyways. So that was his idea. But yeah, lots happened there. What were your thoughts on everything we went down on Huey and Lamplighter?
Yeah, just the porn stuff was just hilarious, and like they timed it so well, because when Starlight was in her scene when they're talking on the news, like, yeah, she's been branded as a traitor and she's been detained, and it cuts to Huey like, no, this can't, like, well, we gotta stop this, and then it goes to the guy like saying like, you gonna fuck my ass or something like that, and then it cuts to like Huey saying like that, like, that's it, I've had enough, or like, no, he says something like hell no. And then the guy on the TV just quickly says, fuck yeah. And then he changes the channel to the news report. It's just, it was so well done. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But in terms of Lamplighter dying, I really think that was very symbolic. Again, I think it was a foreshadow to season 3, like Church of the Light. I think, you have like the 7 in Vough's like conference room when you have this guy on fire. Like, I think it was just, to me, I took it as like a symbolic kind of thing, like not just with Lamplighter, but just in general, like, okay, the light in front of the 7, this is going to be the battle that's going to come up, where you have the heroes versus the Church of the Light.
It's gonna suck if your church theory is not right at all, and you've read into all the stuff that's not there.
I'll be so choked. I do like him just lighting himself on fire. Just, I totally felt bad for Huey, because
what the fuck, man?
Yeah. Did you see the thumbnail for the episode?
Not yet. No.
Oh, okay, you'll get a kick out of it then.
Is it Huey with the porn? No,
no. But it is Huey though. But yeah, it's such a good. His reaction is just like just shocking. I'm thinking, oh, you're locked in like the worst place imaginable, and this guy totally just left you.
I think that's my thing of like, it's not a negative because the character was untrustworthy and everything like that. I guess I just want to know, like, I would have rathered him. For me, I would have rathered him do that when he knew Starlight and Huey were out of, like, it wouldn't have made sense scene-wise because they need Maeve to stop Black Noir and all that. But like, I felt like he was all about being a hero, and then when he got there, it's like, well, he doesn't know Huey succeeds. He just fucking kills himself. But at the same time, I thought it was just coincidence, because then I thought, oh, is he killing himself to give her energy so she can burst out? But I don't think he knows that. So I think maybe I still would have waited a little bit longer if I had any critique of this episode majorly or like even minorly. It's like, I think maybe he should wait till Starlight was saved, and then he would be like, well, you know what? I did one last good thing. I'm done. Where like he did it mid-mission, like that could have
he didn't give a fuck. He was just done.
That could have really went bad for Huey. So,
well, he didn't care really about Huey either.
No.
The whole, like, I would have loved to see more dynamic between the two characters, because it's really funny. Like when he's like, okay, either they still have me in the system, or we're gonna have a bunch of SWAT guys with AKs here in seconds. And he puts his hand, and he's like, boom, and like Huey's freaking out, like, and they go in. But like even then, like I love when Starlight and Black Noir like go through the wall, and just like they didn't really emphasize it, but I'd like to imagine just like, why is there this dead, burnt body on the ground in our conference room?
Just another day at Vought with the 7.
Yeah.
Anything else to say on this episode?
Gosh, I don't know. I really do want to rewatch it.
I think I will before the finale, because like I said, this to me was the best episode. So much happened, and it was just enjoyable, whether it's humor or whatnot, and character stuff, acting. I think it was just like if we were rating this, like I think Mando, we just give thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever we do. Like this is a double thumbs up for me. It's like I said, I think it's the best episode of the series so far. I'm not expecting the finale to be this good, because it's just like one of those moments where it's like, oh, this was really good, but it has potential because there's so many good storylines happening. There's so much just details going into almost every single storyline, or set up for potential like in the future. So what did you send me? You sent me the that's pretty good. I'll try and show the viewers there of me. Yeah. Oh, really good. Final thoughts, Taylor, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, this episode I would give it like a full on like 10 out of 10. It was just
Yeah.
hilarious and it was a perfect blend of just comedy and seriousness and it had so much like going on for it from the start to finish. The ending was just a great cliffhanger and just I love that moment because like I was laying on the couch with Madison and like we were just watching the episode and like it was great. It was funny. It was awkward at times and just that ending happened and it was just like I sat up. I was like, "What the fuck?" Like just again, the heads are popping off, and like I thought, okay, the main doctor in wheelchair, I thought, okay, something for sure is probably gonna happen to him, and it did. I thought, okay, his head popped, but then like when everyone else's head started going and the soup's head started going, I was like, whoa! I just couldn't fathom what I was visually seeing, and again, it's just something like Homelander was just like totally in shock mode, like what the hell? And I mean, Stormfront, they didn't really show her in that scene, but the only other person that was there was I'm not sure what her full name is, but the CIA lady, like Madame or
Mhm.
whatever, she was there, and again, the other CIA lady that was saying like, we need to trust each other, and that was talking to Huey at the time or whatever. Yeah. So there's a few characters. I think all of them still were alive. The only people I saw for sure die was like one of the other ladies. That Vought lady, Katie or Catherine or Jessica is her name, I think. Um,
Like the one that's
she's
been
got
on their marketing team the whole time.
yeah, yeah. Isn't her name Jessica?
I can't remember. We had
I
that
think
one. We had that one scene where we forgot to talk about where Maeve was banging a bunch of dudes.
I think it's just one dude, but
No, there was two.
was there two? I didn't see the second
There was
one.
a naked
Oh.
guy laying right beside her.
Well, I just saw that guy. I didn't see the other guy
The
though. You
guy
said
with,
two?
did you see? There's a guy under the blankets and they were smoking together, and then right beside there was a guy passed out and his butt was hanging out.
Oh, I didn't see that. Now I gotta rewatch this episode.
Yeah,
But yeah, that lady, I'm pretty sure someone exploded right in front of her and blood went all over her.
yeah. Okay, I thought you said she exploded. I'm like, I thought
No,
I
no,
missed
yeah,
that,
she's
but
she's alive. But yeah, I'm just curious because yeah, the only other character I think they really emphasized was like Shockwave or whatever the other fast, speedy guy is. So
yeah. Well, it'll be an interesting finale, so we'll be
mhm.
here to cover it next week. I think there'll be lots to talk about again. Thank you very much for joining this episode, and when you hear from us next, it'll not be boring.
Bye bye.